Welcome to this quiet space of wonder. I'm so glad you've joined me here tonight. In the moments ahead, we are going to drift through a collection of truths about our world and the vast universe beyond it. These are facts that might seem unbelievable, almost like stories from a dream, but they are the quiet, steady realities of science. Before we begin our journey into the stars, if you find that this tone and these stories help you find a sense of peace, I invite you to gently like this video or subscribe to the channel. It's a soft way to ensure this little corner of the world remains a sanctuary for your rest whenever you might need it. But for now, simply let go of the day. Notice where your body meets the bed. If you're holding any tension in your shoulders or your jaw, just let it melt away. Take a long, slow breath in through your nose, feeling your chest rise, and exhale slowly. Let your thoughts become as light as dust motes dancing in a beam of light. You are safe, you are comfortable, and there is nothing left for you to do but listen. Let's start our journey at the very heart of our existence, the sun. It is a magnificent, constant presence, yet its scale is almost impossible to imagine. Think of the Earth for a moment. Every ocean, every continent, every mountain range you've ever seen. If the sun were a hollow sphere, you could fit 1,300,000 Earths inside of it. It is a golden giant, so large that we are like tiny grains of sand in its shadow, held in a warm, steady embrace. Because it is so incredibly vast, the sun exerts a gravitational pull that holds our entire solar system together in a perfect celestial dance. In fact, if you were to gather up every planet, every moon, every asteroid, and every wandering comet in our system and put them all together on a cosmic scale, they would only make up a tiny fraction of the total matter. The sun alone accounts for 99.8% of the entire mass of our solar system. Everything else, Jupiter, Saturn, the Earth, and you, exists within that final tiny 0.2%. We are all small, precious passengers orbiting this massive, glowing anchor that provides us with everything we need to thrive. And though the sun's light feels instantaneous when it touches your skin on a summer day, it is actually a traveler from the past. The sun is about 93 million miles away. Light, moving at the fastest speed possible in the universe, still takes time to cross that great silent distance. It takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds for a ray of light to leave the surface of the sun and reach the Earth. When you see the sun shining through a window or feel its warmth, you're experiencing something that happened more than 8 minutes ago. You are looking back in time, seeing the sun not as it is this very second, but as it was when the light began its long, quiet journey to find you. As we drift away from this radiant, golden center, the light begins to dim just a little, and we move into the cooler, quieter reaches of space, where our neighboring planets wait in the dark, each with its own strange and beautiful secrets. As we drift away from the radiant golden center of our solar system, the light begins to dim just a little, and we move into the cooler, quieter reaches of space. Here, our neighboring planets wait in the dark, each moving through its own long, slow rhythm, holding on to secrets that have existed for billions of years. Imagine the silence here, far away from the rush of daily life.
where the only movement is the steady, ancient pull of gravity. Our first stop is Venus, a planet often called Earth's sister because of its similar size. But Venus moves to a much slower drumbeat than we do.
Imagine a place where time stretches out so far that the very concept of a day changes. Venus rotates on its axis with such incredible slowness that it takes longer to complete one full turn than it does to travel all the way around the sun. This means that on Venus, a single day is actually longer than a year. It is a world of profound patience, turning with a heavy, deliberate grace in the velvet darkness of the inner solar system. Even though it is not the closest planet to the sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest world in our neighborhood. This is because it is wrapped in a thick, dense blanket of clouds that acts like a heavy quilt, trapping the sun's warmth and never letting it go. While the side of Mercury, facing away from the sun, can become freezing cold, Venus remains wrapped in a constant sweltering embrace, day and night. It is a world held in a permanent glowing stillness, swaddled by its own atmosphere. As we continue our journey outward, past the rocky inner planets and the gas giants, we reach the deep sapphire blue reaches of Neptune. It is a cold, lonely world sitting at the very edge of our sun's domain. Despite its frozen appearance, Neptune's atmosphere is surprisingly restless. In the high altitudes of this blue giant, the winds can reach speeds of 1,200 miles per hour, faster than the speed of sound here on Earth. Yet, because Neptune is so far away and its air is so thin, these massive movements happen in a silence we can only dream of, a cold rush of gas moving through the void, billions of miles from home. Turning back toward the center, we find ourselves drifting near the magnificent rings of Saturn. From a distance, they look like solid, shimmering tracts of silver and gold. But as we get closer, their true nature is revealed. These rings are not solid at all. They are made of trillions of individual pieces of water ice. Some are as large as mountains, but many are as small and delicate as a speck of dust or a flake of winter snow. They orbit Saturn in a flat, perfect disk, reflecting the distant sunlight like a billion tiny mirrors, floating in a silent, icy parade. As we leave these giant, distant worlds behind, we begin to turn our gaze back toward the familiar. We find ourselves approaching a quiet silver companion that has watched over us since the very beginning of time. It is a silent guardian that tugs gently at our oceans and lights our path through the darkest nights. Our journey brings us now to the gentle, cratered surface of our own moon. The moon has always been the quiet keeper of our nights, a soft silver beacon that has watched over every dream ever dreamt. It is more than just a light in the sky. It is a companion, bound to us by an invisible tether of gravity. But even this ancient friendship is changing in the most subtle of ways. Every year as you sleep and the world turns, the moon gently drifts about 1.5 inches further away from the Earth. It is a slow, graceful departure, so gradual that it would take billions of years for it to truly leave us behind. For now, it remains our constant neighbor, even as it inches toward the deeper dark of space. Though it appears cold and still from our bedside windows, the moon is not entirely silent. Deep within its rocky crust, there are tremors known as moonquakes. Unlike earthquakes, which are often caused by the shifting of tectonic plates, Many moonquakes are the result of the Earth's own gravitational pull. Just as the moon's gravity reaches out to tug at our oceans, creating the rhythmic rise and fall of the tides, the Earth reaches back, stretching and squeezing the moon's solid frame. These tittle stresses cause the moon to creak and groan in the silence, a gentle reminder of the powerful, invisible forces that connect our two worlds. Because the moon has no atmosphere, no wind ever whistles through its craters, and no rain ever falls upon its dust. This creates a landscape of incredible frozen stillness. When the Apollo astronauts walked across its surface decades ago, they left footprints in the fine lunar soil. Without weather to blow them away or water to wash them out, those footprints remain there today, as crisp and clear as the moment they were made. They will likely stay there for millions of years, a permanent record of a quiet visit, preserved in the eternal hush of the lunar vacuum. There is a special comfort in the way the moon presents itself to us. You may have noticed that no matter when you look up, you always see the same familiar patterns of craters and plains, the man in the moon or the jade rabbit. This is because the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. It rotates on its axis at the exact same speed that it orbits our planet. It is as if the moon is a dancer, always keeping its face turned toward its partner as they twirl through the dark. We never see its far side from our vantage point on Earth, a hidden half that remains a secret to all but the most distant of our probes. We often imagine the moon as a perfect glowing sphere, but its shape is actually a bit more unusual. Because of the way it was formed and the constant tug of Earth's gravity, the moon is slightly oblong, shaped more like a lemon than a marble. It has a subtle bulge on the side that faces us, a physical manifestation of its long-standing relationship with our home. As we let the silver glow of the moon fade into the background of our minds, we begin to look past it. Beyond our lunar companion lies a vastness that is difficult for the human heart to fully grasp. The blackness between the planets is not empty, but a gateway to a much larger neighborhood. We are ready now to leave the comfort of our solar system and drift further out into the swirling, luminous clouds of the Milky Way, where the stars are as numerous as the thoughts of a sleeping world. As we move beyond the familiar glow of our moon, we find ourselves drifting into the vast velvety darkness of the deep universe. When you look up at the night sky from a quiet, dark place, the stars seem like tiny pinpricks of light, scattered like diamonds on a cloth of black silk. It is a view that has inspired dreamers and thinkers for as long as humans have walked the earth. The sheer number of these distant suns is almost impossible to hold in the mind at once. If you have ever walked along a beach and felt the countless tiny grains of sand between your toes, you know how infinite they can seem. Yet, astronomers estimate that there are more stars in the observable universe than there are grains of sand on every single beach and in every desert on our entire planet. Each one is a distant world, a quiet light burning in the great, silent expanse. Among these billions of stars, there are some that possess a strange and incredible nature, born from the remnants of giants. These are the neutron stars. They are the cores of massive stars that have collapsed under the weight of their own gravity, crushing their matter into a space no larger than a small city. They are so incredibly dense that the laws of physics seem to bend around them. To imagine this density, think of a simple teaspoon. If you were to scoop up just 1 teaspoon of material from a neutron star, that tiny amount would weigh about 6 billion tons, roughly the weight of a large mountain. It is a reminder that even in the quietest parts of the sky, there are wonders of unimaginable power and weight held in perfect spinning balance. Our own home in this vastness is the Milky Way galaxy, a majestic swirling spiral of stars, gas, and dust. It is a place of grand proportions, stretching out across a distance of 100,000 light years. To put that in perspective, light travels at a speed of about 186,000 miles every single second. Even at that incredible pace, a beam of light would need to travel for 1,000 centuries just to cross from one edge of our galaxy to the other. We reside in a quiet suburban arm of this great spiral, nestled among neighbors that share our long journey through the dark. While we often think of stars as bright, yellow orbs like our sun, most of the stars in the Milky Way are actually much smaller and more modest. These are known as red dwarfs. They are the quiet, patient residents of the cosmos. Because they are smaller and cooler, they do not burn through their fuel with the same intensity as larger stars. Instead, they glow with a soft, steady light, sipping their energy so slowly that they can live for trillions of years. These stars were shining long before our solar system was born, and they will likely still be glowing softly long after the more boisterous stars have faded away. They are the long-term witnesses to the history of the universe, providing a sense of permanence and calm in the ever-changing scheme. As we look out past these distant suns, we begin to realize that the stars, as numerous as they are only small islands in a much larger sea. The gaps between them are immense, filled with a stillness that is deeper than any we know on Earth. We are moving now away from the lights of the stars and into the space that holds them, the vast, mysterious intervals that make up the true fabric of the cosmos. It is a place where the concept of emptiness takes on a whole new meaning, revealing that even in the silence of a vacuum, there is a story waiting to be told. As we move further away from the familiar glow of suns and planets, we enter a realm that we often describe as empty. But space, in all its vastness, is not a total vacuum. It is a place of subtle presence, a quiet canvas that is never truly blank. If you were to take a small container, perhaps the size of a sugar cube, and fill it with the deep space between the stars, you would find that it is not entirely empty. In that tiny cubic centimeter, there is usually about one single atom of hydrogen or helium drifting through the dark. It is a density so low that it is almost impossible for us to imagine, yet it means that the universe is connected by a thin, ghostly mist of matter. This interstellar medium is the very breath of the cosmos, the raw material from which future stars and worlds will one day be born. It is a very thin, very quiet connection that spans the distance between everything we know. In this environment of near-perfect stillness, the rules of the physical world behave in ways that seem almost like magic. Imagine 2 smooth pieces of the same metal, perhaps 2 silver coins or 2 iron rods. On Earth, if you touch them together, they remain separate. held apart by a thin, invisible layer of air and oxidation that coats everything we touch. But in the airless void of space, that protective layer is missing. If these two pieces of identical metal come into contact, they will instantly and permanently bond together. This is a phenomenon known as cold welding. Without the interference of an atmosphere, the atoms of one piece have no way of knowing they are separate from the atoms of the other. They simply reach out and join, becoming a single, solid object. It is a reminder of how much the air around us shapes our reality, keeping the world in separate, manageable pieces, and how, in the deep silence of space, things long to be whole. Even within this vastness, there are regions that are lonelier than others, places where the silence is even deeper. One of the most mysterious of these is the Botez Void, often called the Great Nothing. It is a massive, spherical expanse of space, so large that it stretches for 330 million light years across. While most of the universe is filled with galaxies that huddle together in beautiful, glowing clusters, this void is almost entirely empty. If the Milky Way were located in the center of the Botez Void, we would have looked out at the sky for centuries and believed we were the only galaxy in existence. It is a place of profound solitude, a dark ocean in a sea of stars, reminding us of the incredible scales of space that lie beyond our reach. It is a place where time and space seem to stretch out into an endless, peaceful sleep. And yet, for all its emptiness and distance, space is not entirely beyond our senses. Astronauts who have ventured out into the void on spacewalks have brought back a surprising discovery. When they return to the safety of their spacecraft and repressurize the airlock, they often notice a distinct and lingering scent on their suits and tools. They describe it as a metallic aroma, like the smell of hot metal after welding, or perhaps the savory charred scent of a seared steak. This smell of space is thought to be the result of high-energy vibrations in particles that cling to the fabric of their suits, a chemical signature of the stars themselves. It is a strange and comforting thought that even the vacuum of space has a flavor, a sensory memory of the energy that flows through the dark. As we linger on these thoughts of the distant and the strange, we begin to feel a gentle pull, a soft gravity drawing us back toward the light. We leave the metallic scents and the vast empty voids behind, traveling back through the velvet darkness. The distant galaxies fade into a soft blur as we move inward, past the spinning planets and the glowing sun, until a familiar sight begins to take shape. It is a small, bright sphere, glowing with a soft, protective light against the black. This is our home, a rare and vibrant jewel in the dark. As we approach, we feel the warmth of the atmosphere beginning to surround us, bringing our focus back to the wonders of the earth, the one place in all that vastness that was made specifically for life. As we descend from the silent heights of the cosmos, the darkness begins to soften. Below us, a sphere of deep cerulean and emerald green emerges, cradled in a thin, glowing veil of atmosphere. This is Earth, a rare, vibrant jewel suspended in the vastness. After the emptiness of the voids we've passed, the sheer abundance of life here feels like a warm embrace. It is a sanctuary of liquid water and breathable air, a place of constant, gentle motion. We often look up at the night sky and marvel at the hundreds of billions of stars that make up our Milky Way galaxy. It is a number so large it is difficult to truly grasp, a glittering dust of suns stretching across the dark. And yet, if you were to count every tree currently growing on our planet, you would find something even more staggering. There are roughly 3 trillion trees on Earth. For every single star flickering in our galaxy, there are about 7 or 8 trees right here, breathing with us, stretching their roots into the soil and reaching their branches toward the light. Imagine the quiet rustle of those trillions of leaves, a terrestrial symphony that outnumbers the lights in the sky. It is a reminder of just how lush and crowded with life our home truly is. In the grand theater of our solar system, Earth holds a unique place, even in its name. While the other planets carry the names of ancient Roman and Greek gods, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, our home is the only planet not named after a deity. The word Earth comes from Old Germanic and English roots that simply mean the ground or the soil. It is a humble name, a reminder that our existence is rooted in the very substance beneath our feet, the solid, unpretentious foundation that supports every step we take and every dream we have. But beneath that familiar ground, deep within the heart of our world, there is a hidden intensity. If we were to travel down through the layers of rock and mantle, we would eventually reach the Earth's core, a massive sphere of iron and nickel. Despite being thousands of miles beneath the cool, damp grass of a summer meadow, the core is nearly as hot as the surface of the sun, reaching temperatures of about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This internal warmth is what keeps our planet geologically alive, powering the magnetic field that shields us from the solar winds, like a gentle, invisible blanket wrapped around the globe to keep us safe. It is this heavy, metallic heart that makes Earth the densest planet in our entire solar system. Even the gas giants, like Jupiter and Saturn, which are massive in size, are far less dense than the world we walk upon. Earth is packed tightly with the elements of life and the weight of history, a solid anchor in a sea of celestial bodies. As we settle into the comfort of this solid ground, we begin to notice that most of our jewel-like planet is covered in a deep, shimmering blue. The land, with its trillions of trees and ancient soil, is only part of the story. To truly understand the mysteries of our home, we must look toward the horizon, where the green of the forest meets the infinite expanse of the waves. Let your mind drift toward the shoreline now, feeling the cool, rhythmic pulse of the tides as we prepare to dive deep into the Earth's lifeblood, the vast and secret oceans. The ocean is a vast blue cradle covering more than 70% of our planet's surface. When you look out over the horizon, it seems infinite, a shimmering mirror reflecting the sky. But beneath that surface lies a world far more mysterious than the land we walk upon. It is a quiet, weightless realm where the light slowly fades into a deep, comforting indigo. It is a remarkable thought that even with all our modern technology and satellites that can peer into the farthest reaches of space, we have explored less than 5% of the Earth's oceans. There are valleys deeper than the tallest mountains and plains more vast than any desert, all hidden beneath the waves, waiting in the silence. For every map we have of the moon's surface, we have only a fraction of that detail for the ocean floor. It is a reminder that there is still so much wonder left to discover right here at home, tucked away in the cool, dark depths where the currents move like slow, steady breaths. If we could drain the water away, we would see a landscape more dramatic than any on land. Hidden beneath the Atlantic and stretching into the Indian and Pacific Oceans is the mid-ocean ridge, the world's longest mountain range. It is a continuous chain of volcanic peaks and rift valleys that wraps around the globe for over 40,000 miles, like the silver seams on a well-worn baseball. While the peaks of the Himalayas reach for the clouds, these underwater mountains are forged in the quiet darkness, shaped by the slow movement of the Earth's crust and the gentle cooling of ancient lava. It is a majestic, hidden spine that holds the world together, unseen by human eyes. Within this vast volume of salt water, there is also a hidden wealth that glitters in the imagination. The ocean holds an incredible amount of gold dissolved into the water itself. If we were somehow able to extract all the gold from the world's oceans and distribute it, there would be enough to give every single person on Earth about 9 pounds of the precious metal. It is there in every liter of water, a microscopic, shimmering treasure that moves with the tides, a silent testament to the richness of our natural world. As we descend deeper into the blue, the weight of the ocean begins to press inward. In the deepest parts of the sea, such as the Mariana Trench, the pressure is truly immense. To imagine it, think of the weight of a large elephant standing on your thumb. It is a force that seems overwhelming to us, yet in that crushing darkness, life does not just exist, it thrives. There are creatures made of delicate, jelly-like substances that navigate these depths with a grace that defies our understanding of physics. They are unbothered by the weight, moving through the heavy, liquid embrace of the deep as if it were as light as a summer breeze. In this world of high pressure and low light, a different kind of beauty emerges. It is a place of bioluminescent glows and slow-motion dances. As we leave the rocky ridges and the heavy silence of the seabed, we turn our attention to the living wonders that drift through the currents. From the smallest shimmering fish to the largest beings to ever grace our planet, the ocean is a sanctuary for life that is as magnificent as it is mysterious. Let us move closer now to the gentle giants that glide through these deep blue halls, finding peace in the rhythm of their ancient songs. The ocean is home to the largest creature to ever live on our planet, larger even than the most massive dinosaurs that once walked the earth. The blue whale is a masterpiece of biological engineering, moving with a slow, rhythmic grace through the sun-dappled depths. To sustain such a monumental body, its heart must be equally grand. A blue whale's heart is roughly the size of a bumper car. Imagine that massive, steady pulse beating slowly in the quiet of the deep, a rhythmic drum that anchors the life of this gentle giant. It is a heart that pumps hundreds of liters of blood with every single beat, a powerful yet calm engine of life that carries it across vast, watery distances. These whales communicate across reaches of the ocean that are difficult for the human mind to fathom. Their songs low-frequency rumbles that resonate through the heavy, supportive water can be heard by other whales up to 1,000 miles away. In the deep stillness of the sea, a whale in one part of the world can hear the call of a companion across an entire ocean basin. It is a vast, invisible network of sound, a long-distance conversation that carries through the darkness, reminding us that even in the most remote parts of the sea, no one is truly alone. The sound travels as a gentle vibration, a lullaby of the deep that connects the solitary giants of the blue. While the whales are the masters of the open water, the reefs and rocky crevices hide creatures of a different, more mysterious nature. The octopus is a marvel of evolution, possessing 3 hearts and blood that runs a deep royal blue. 2 of these hearts work solely to pump blood to the gills, while the 3rd circulates it to the rest of the body. Their blue blood is rich in copper, which helps them transport oxygen in the cold, low-oxygen environments of the ocean floor. It is as if they were designed for another world entirely, moving with a liquid intelligence that seems almost otherworldly. Because they have no internal skeleton, an octopus is incredibly fluid, almost like water itself. They can squeeze their entire bodies through any opening that is just slightly larger than their beak, the only hard part of their entire anatomy. This allows them to vanish into tiny cracks in the coral or hide within discarded shells, folding themselves into spaces that seem impossibly small. It is a reminder of the flexibility of life, of how nature finds a way to adapt and hide in the most unexpected places, becoming one with its surroundings. As we move from the deep toward the sunlit surface, we find smaller, equally enchanting residents of the sea. In the kelp forests near the shore, sea otters spend much of their lives floating on their backs, cradled by the gentle swells. To ensure they don't drift away from their families or their favorite feeding grounds while they rest, sea otters will hold hands with one another as they sleep. They form what is known as a raft, a gentle chain of otters floating together, anchored to the kelp and to each other. It is a beautiful image of connection and safety, a quiet way to stay grounded while the currents of the world move softly around them. The water has a way of cradling life, of making the heavy feel light and the vast feel intimate. But as the tide pulls back and the shore comes into view, we find ourselves transitioning from the liquid embrace of the ocean to the solid, varied landscapes of the land. The creatures here have adapted in ways just as remarkable, finding their own rhythms in the forests, plains, and mountains that stretch across the continents. We leave the salt and the spray behind, stepping onto the firm earth to discover the wonders of the animals that walk, climb, and rest upon the soil. The transition from the sea to the land is a change in the very nature of existence. On land, gravity has a firmer grip, yet life has found ways to move with incredible grace and variety. As we step onto the solid earth, we encounter the gentle giants of the plains. The elephant, with its deep intelligence and rhythmic, swaying gait, possesses a unique physical trait among its peers. Out of all the thousands of mammal species on our planet, elephants are the only ones that cannot jump. Their massive size and specialized bone structure are designed for stability and endurance rather than vertical leaps. There is a quiet dignity in that steady connection to the earth, a constant grounding presence that keeps them rooted to the path they walk. While some animals are defined by their strength, others are defined by their immense patience. Consider the humble snail moving silently through the dew-dampened grass. In times of extreme environmental stress, such as when the weather becomes too dry or the heat too intense, a snail can retreat into its shell and enter a state of profound dormancy. In this state, a snail can sleep for up to 3 years, waiting for the perfect moment when moisture returns to the air. Imagine a rest so deep and so long that years pass by in what feels like a single, quiet breath. It is a testament to the endurance of life, a reminder that nature knows how to wait until the world feels right again. On the wide green pastures, we find animals with surprisingly deep social lives. Cows, often seen grazing peacefully in the distance, are far more emotionally complex than they might appear. Research has shown that cows have best friends within their herds, specific individuals they prefer to spend their time with, grazing side by side in the sun. When they are separated from these close companions, their heart rates increase and they show clear signs of stress. There is a soft comfort in knowing that even in the vast meadows, there is a longing for companionship and the peace that comes from being near someone familiar. In the shallower waters and salt flats at the edge of the land, we see a splash of vibrant color. A group of flamingos standing on their long, slender legs is known by a wonderful and evocative name, a flamboyance. It is a word that captures the bright social harmony of these birds as they rest together. They often stand on one leg to conserve body heat, tucking the other close to their bodies in a pose of perfect balance and stillness, a sea of pink feathers reflected in the quiet water. Deep in the lush canopies of the rainforest, the pace of life slows down even further, reaching a near standstill. The sloth is the master of the unhurried life. Their metabolism is so uniquely slow that it can take up to a full month for a sloth to digest just a single meal. They move with such deliberate meditative care that algae can grow on their fur, providing them with a natural camouflage. In the world of the sloth, there is no rush, no urgency, only the slow, steady rhythm of the swaying branches and the gentle passage of time. As we watch the sloth move through the high branches, our gaze naturally drifts upward, toward the breaks in the canopy where the sunlight filters through, above the slow-moving creatures of the forest floor and the grounded giants of the plains. Another world exists, a world of lightness, wind, and incredible heights. We leave the heavy sill and the slow pace of the land behind, turning our attention to the sky and the remarkable beings that have mastered the art of flight. Imagine the feeling of weightlessness as we look up from the forest floor, moving our gaze away from the slow-moving sloths and the grounded giants of the plains. The sky is a vast open space, filled with a different kind of grace, a world where gravity seems to have less of a hold. Here, the inhabitants are built for lightness, their bones hollow and their feathers designed to catch the gentlest of breezes. Among these masters of the air, there are those who defy the usual rules of flight in ways that seem almost magical. The hummingbird, for instance, is a tiny marvel of natural engineering. While most birds can only move forward or glide downward, the hummingbird has the unique ability to fly backward. Their wings move so rapidly they become a soft blur, creating a rhythmic hum that gives them their name. They can hover in place with perfect precision, sipping nectar from flowers as if they were suspended by an invisible thread. It is a delicate, energetic dance that requires a heart that beats over 1,000 times a minute, yet they move with a quiet elegance that seems to stop time, a tiny jewel flickering in the sunlight. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon and the sky turns a deep velvety blue, we find the owl. The owl is a creature of silence and observation. If you were to look into the large golden eyes of an owl, you might be surprised to learn that they are not actually eyeballs in the way ours are. Instead, they are long, tubular structures held firmly in place by bony sockets called sclerotic rings. Because these tubes cannot move within their sockets, the owl cannot roll its eyes to look around. To compensate, nature has gifted them the ability to turn their heads up to 270 degrees, allowing them to scan the quiet woods without ever moving their bodies. It is a stillness that feels ancient and wise, a silent guardian of the night watching over the sleeping world. High above the trees in the thin air where the wind never stops, lives the swift. These birds are perhaps the ultimate wanderers of the sky. A swift can stay in the air for an incredible 10 months without ever touching the ground. They eat, mate, and even sleep while soaring on the thermal currents. Imagine the peace of drifting through the clouds for nearly a year, never needing to land, always cradled by the moving air. Their lives are a continuous journey of flight, a testament to the endurance and freedom hidden within such small, feathered frames. While some birds are known for their physical feats, others are celebrated for their sharp, observant minds. Crows and ravens are among the most intelligent creatures on Earth, possessing a memory that rivals our own. They have the remarkable ability to recognize individual human faces even after long periods of time. If a person is kind to them, they may remember. However, they are also known to hold grudges if they feel mistreated, sometimes even passing this information down to other members of their flock. There is a strange, quiet comfort in knowing that as we walk through the world, the birds in the trees might be recognizing us, watching our movements with a thoughtful and discerning gaze. Even the act of finding food in the sky's domain involves incredible hidden protections. The woodpecker, with its rhythmic tapping against the bark of a tree, subjects its head to forces that would be devastating to most other animals. To protect its delicate mind, a woodpecker's tongue is incredibly long, so long that it actually wraps all the way around its brain inside its skull. This placement acts as a natural shock absorber, cushioning the brain from the impact of every peck. It is a beautiful example of how nature provides exactly what is needed to thrive, turning a repetitive motion into a safe and steady rhythm. As we watch these birds soar and dip through the air, we begin to notice the smaller things they chase, the tiny shimmering specks of life that dance in the sunbeams and hide among the blossoms. The world of flight is not just for those with feathers. There is a much smaller, busier world thriving just out of our ordinary sight. We lower our gaze now, moving from the wide expanse of the blue sky down toward the blades of grass and the underside of leaves, where a vast and intricate world of tiny wonders is waiting to be discovered, thriving in the quiet spaces beneath our feet. As we lower our gaze from the wide open sky to the soft, green carpet of the earth, we find a world that is often overlooked. It is a world of small wonders that go unnoticed beneath our feet. A hidden civilization thriving in the grass, under the cool soil, and within the crags of tree bark. Though they are tiny, their presence is staggering. For every single human being on Earth, there are approximately 1.4 billion insects. It is a vast, silent majority, a hum of life that exists in every corner of our planet, performing the quiet, essential work of nature while we sleep. Among these tiny neighbors are the ants, perhaps the most diligent workers in the natural world. If you were to look closely at an ant, you would find a body designed for incredible efficiency. Unlike us, ants do not have lungs. They don't need to take deep, heavy breaths to fuel their movement. Instead, they breathe through tiny holes scattered across their bodies called spiracles. These small openings allow oxygen to circulate directly to their tissues, a simple and elegant system that powers their tireless searching and building. It is a quiet way to exist, drawing life directly from the air around them through the very surface of their skin. We often think of insects as being very different from ourselves, but some possess abilities that feel surprisingly familiar. Honeybees, for example, have the remarkable capacity to recognize human faces. They can learn to distinguish one person from another, remembering the specific features that make us unique. This intelligence allows them to navigate their complex social lives and interact with the world in ways we are only beginning to understand. It is a gentle thought to imagine a bee hovering over a flower, recognizing the person who tends the garden. The senses of insects are often found in places we would never expect. A butterfly, as it flutters from bloom to bloom, experiences the world through its feet. When a butterfly lands on a leaf or a petal, it is actually tasting it. They have sensory receptors on their legs that tell them whether a plant is the right place to lay their eggs or if it holds the sweet nectar they need. Imagine the sensation of walking across a field and tasting the dew in the wildflowers with every step, a constant tactile connection to the earth's bounty. Nature also grants some of these small creatures a resilience that is difficult to fathom. A cockroach, for instance, can live for up to a week without its head. Because they breathe through tiny holes in their body segments and have an open circulatory system, they do not rely on a mouth or a nose to survive. They only eventually succumb because they have no way to drink water. It is a strange and stoic endurance, a testament to how differently life can be structured, finding ways to persist even in the most improbable circumstances. As we reflect on these tiny, resilient lives, the bees that recognize us, the butterflies that taste the petals, and the millions of insects that share our world, we might find ourselves turning our attention inward. These small wonders are part of the same grand tapestry of life that includes you. Just as the ant breathes through its skin and the bee remembers a face, your own body is a masterpiece of biological engineering, performing thousands of silent tasks every moment to keep you safe and at rest. Let your focus move away from the grass and the trees now and bring it back to the quiet space where you lie, feeling the steady rhythmic life that exists within your own frame. In this quiet space, you are more than just a person resting. You are a living, breathed marvel of the natural world. It is easy to forget during the busy hours of the day how much care and precision is happening inside you at every moment. You are a masterpiece of biological engineering, a collection of systems working in perfect harmony to keep you safe and at peace. Take a moment now to notice the weight of your body against the bed. Feel the way the mattress rises to meet you, supporting every curve and every joint. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears and feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. If you listen very quietly, you might be able to feel the pulse of your own life, the soft, rhythmic thrum of your heart. It is a tireless companion, your heart. Every single day it beats about 100,000 times. Even now, as you prepare for sleep and your breathing slows, your heart continues its faithful work, circulating life-giving oxygen to every corner of your body. It has been doing this since before you were born, and it will continue to do so, adjusting its pace to match your needs, slowing down into a peaceful, steady cadence as you drift off into dreams. Your body is also a wonderful storehouse of energy and resources. It is efficient and wise, keeping what it needs to protect you. For instance, the human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. It is a testament to the substance of your physical self, the way you are built with reserves to keep you warm, to cushion your movements, and to provide energy when you need it most. You are substantial, solid, and safe. Even your sense of smell is more powerful than we often give it credit for. Your nose is a gateway to the past, capable of remembering 50,000 different scents. This is why a certain flower or the smell of a specific meal can instantly bring back a vivid memory from childhood. Your body is constantly recording the world around you, building a silent library of experiences that help you navigate your life. And perhaps one of the most beautiful things about being human is how we express our deepest feelings. We are the only animals on this planet known to produce emotional tears. While other creatures may have tears to lubricate or protect their eyes, only humans cry because of the weight of a feeling, whether that feeling is sorrow, relief, or a quiet sense of wonder. It is a gentle, uniquely human way of letting the world inside us meet the world outside. All of these functions, the beating of the heart, the storage of energy, the library of sense, and the release of emotion, are coordinated by a center of unimaginable complexity. As we lie here in the dark, our thoughts begin to soften and blur, led by the quiet electricity of the brain. It is the most intricate structure in the known universe, tucked away safely, working through the night to make sense of everything we have seen and felt. As you lie there, your mind might feel like it is slowing down, but inside, there is a beautiful, quiet electricity still at work. Your brain is a constant hum of activity, an intricate network of billions of neurons firing in a soft, rhythmic dance. It is fascinating to think that even now, as you are resting and your thoughts are becoming heavy, your brain generates enough electricity to power a small light bulb. It is a low, steady glow of energy, about 12 to 25 watts, pulsing through your mind like a nightlight in a quiet room. This is the power behind every memory you hold, every sensation you feel, and every dream that is waiting for you just around the corner. It is a strange and comforting thought that this organ, which acts as the grand interpreter for everything you experience, cannot actually feel any pain itself. While it tells you when your toe is stubbed or when a breeze is chilly, there are no pain receptors in the brain tissue. It is a silent, protected observer, a calm conductor that processes the world's sensations without ever being hurt by them. It sits in its own sanctuary, cushioned and serene, working tirelessly to keep you safe and aware. The speed at which this silent conductor works is truly breathtaking. Information travels along your nerves at speeds of up to 268 miles per hour. That is faster than the fastest racing cars, yet it happens so smoothly and quietly within you that you never feel the rush. A simple thought to wiggle a toe or the way your eyes track a flickering shadow happens in a fraction of a second. It is a seamless, lightning-fast flow of data that keeps every part of you in perfect harmony, even when you aren't thinking about it at all. Despite all of this incredible electrical power and high-speed communication, your brain is remarkably soft and delicate. In fact, it is about 75% water. It is a fluid, flexible landscape, held in a state of perfect balance. This high water content is why a cool glass of water can feel so refreshing for your mind. It is literally the medium through which your thoughts and life signals flow. Imagine your mind as a calm, clear pool where every ripple of thought is supported by that gentle, life-giving fluid. As you move closer to the edge of sleep, your brain begins to prepare for its nightly theater. We often wake up feeling as though our dreams lasted for hours, taking us on long journeys through strange and wonderful lands. However, the science of sleep tells us that most dreams actually only last between 5 to 20 minutes. They are brief, vivid bursts of storytelling, little windows of imagination that your mind opens to process the emotions and events of your day. Even in their brevity, these dreams feel vast and deep, a testament to how your brain can stretch the fabric of time while you rest. This shift from the waking world to the world of dreams is a gentle, natural transition. It is the moment where we hand over the day's worries to the subconscious and allow the body to enter a state of deep restoration. We spend so much of our lives in this quiet state of rest. And as we look closer at the science of why we drift off, we find a beautiful rhythmic necessity to the way our bodies find peace in the dark every night. As the world grows dim and the sounds of the day begin to fade, we find ourselves drawn back to this familiar, mysterious shore. We drift off, not because we are simply turning off, but because our bodies and minds require a specific kind of sanctuary to prepare for the tomorrow that hasn't yet arrived. It is a biological pull as steady as the tides, a gentle surrender that we perform thousands of times throughout our lives. It is estimated that humans spend about 1/3 of their entire lives sleeping. If you were to look at it as a whole, Those years aren't a gap in your story. They are the quiet, essential chapters where your body heals, your memories are stored, and your spirit is replenished. It is a long, peaceful investment in the self, a commitment to the rhythm of life that requires both the sun and the stars. While your limbs grow heavy and your breathing finds a steady, slow beat, your brain is far from quiet. In fact, during certain stages of sleep, your brain is actually more active than it is when you are awake and moving through the world. It is busy sorting through the vast amounts of information you gathered during the day, deciding what to keep and what to let go. It is like a librarian working through the night, carefully filing away every conversation, every sight, and every feeling into the vast archives of your memory. While you rest in stillness, your mind is performing a masterful symphony of organization, ensuring that everything is in its right place for when you wake. And while this mental filing takes place, a physical cleansing is also occurring deep within the tissues of your brain. Scientists have discovered that while we sleep, the brain flushes out toxins that build up during our waking hours through a specialty system that acts like a gentle internal tide. This movement of fluid carries away the metabolic debris left behind by your thoughts and actions. This nightly brainwash is what allows you to wake up feeling clear-headed and refreshed. It is the body's way of ensuring that the delicate machinery of your consciousness is ready to start anew, polished and clean every single morning. It is a quiet, restorative process that happens entirely in the dark, without you ever having to lift a finger. Within this active state of rest, some people experience a fascinating phenomenon known as lucid dreaming. This is a state where the dreamer becomes aware that they are in a dream while it is still happening. In these moments, the boundary between the observer and the creator thins, and some are even able to influence or control the events of the dream itself. It is a rare and beautiful experience, like being the author and the audience of a story all at once, navigating a world where the only limits are those of your own imagination. Even for those who do not dream lucidity, the mind remains a vast playground of possibilities during these hours of rest. The body is remarkably protective of this state of restoration. It has evolved ways to ensure that you stay in your slumber for as long as you need to recover. For instance, it is physically impossible to sneeze while you are asleep. When you enter the deeper stages of sleep, the nerves that trigger the sneezing reflex are also put into a state of rest. Your body creates a quiet, still environment, muting the physical reactions that might otherwise startle you back into the waking world. It is a sign of how deeply your system values this time of peace, guarding your rest so that nothing from the physical world interrupts the essential work of the night. This rhythmic cycle of rest and activity isn't unique to us. It is a pulse that runs through all of life, from the smallest creature to the tallest tree. As we lie here in the stillness, we can imagine the world outside our window, where the life of the land is also following its own quiet rules. From the human body, so full of movement and complex thought, we turn our attention now to the silent, slow-motion world of plants, a kingdom that lives and breathes in a way that is both alien and deeply familiar to our own. Just like us, the flora of our world has its own secrets, its own ways of sensing the environment, and its own quiet strength that thrives in the stillness. While we rest, the world of flora continues its silent, slow-motion dance, unfolding in a rhythm that is often too patient for the human eye to perceive. It is easy to think of plants as passive or stationary, but they are deeply attuned to the world around them in ways that are truly remarkable. Even without ears or a nervous system like our own, plants are far more aware than they appear. Scientists have discovered that plants can actually hear the sound of water. They don't listen for a melody, of course, but they can detect the subtle vibrations of water running through underground pipes or moving through the soil. Upon sensing these vibrations, their roots will often change direction, reaching out with a quiet, steady persistence toward the source of life-giving moisture. It is a slow, beautiful search conducted in the total darkness of the earth. This sense of connection extends far beyond the individual plant. Beneath the forest floor, there is a hidden world of cooperation and communication that we are only just beginning to understand. Trees are not isolated individuals. They are part of a vast, interconnected community linked by an underground fungal network, often referred to as the wood wide web. Through this delicate web of mycelium, trees can actually share nutrients with one another. A larger, older tree might send extra sugar to a smaller sapling struggling in the shade, or a healthy tree might provide resources to a neighbor that is unwell. They even send chemical signals to warn each other of approaching pests. It is a silent, supportive conversation that happens beneath our feet while we walk through the woods, a testament to the quiet strength of community in the natural world. In this kingdom of slow movement, there are also incredible bursts of speed. While a great oak might take decades to reach its full height, some plants have an astonishing urgency. Bamboo, for instance, is the fastest growing plant on our planet. Some species are capable of growing up to 35 inches in a single day. If you were to sit quietly enough and watch with enough patience, you could almost see it stretching toward the sky. A humidor gaining more than an inch every hour. This rapid ascent is a marvel of biological engineering, allowing the bamboo to claim its place in the sunlight with a vigor that seems almost impossible for something so graceful and slender. When we think of plants, we often picture the green forest and rolling meadows of the land, but the true garden of our world is hidden beneath the waves. Approximately 85% of all plant life on Earth is found in the ocean. From the vast, swaying kelp forests that reach up from the seabed, like underwater cathedrals, to the microscopic phytoplankton that drift with the currents, the oceans are teeming with botanical life. These underwater plants are the unsung heroes of our atmosphere, producing a significant portion of the oxygen we breathe and providing the foundation for almost all marine life. They live in a world of blue light and gentle pressure, swaying in the tides in a state of perpetual fluid motion. Beyond their beauty and their breath, plants also possess a quiet power to heal the very ground they grow in. Sunflowers, with their bright, cheerful faces, are more than just a symbol of summer. They are remarkably efficient at a process called phytoremediation. They can be used to help clean up radioactive waste and heavy metals from contaminated soil. Their roots act like natural filters, pulling toxins deep into their tissues and locking them away, helping to restore the health of the earth. It is a poetic thought that something as simple and sun-loving as a flower can help mend the invisible scars we have left on the landscape. As we consider the intricate lives of these green beings, we begin to see that they are masters of transformation, taking simple light and water and turning them into the very structure of life. This incredible ability is rooted in the fundamental properties of the universe itself. To understand how a leaf captures the sun, or how a root finds its way through the dark, we must look closer still, past the cells and the tissues, down to the very building blocks of everything we see. We move now from the living tapestry of the forest to the strange and beautiful world of the elements and the chemistry that binds our universe together. To understand the world around us, we must look deeper than the leaves and the waves. We must look at the very building blocks of everything we see, the elements. These are the simplest substances, the alphabet of the universe, and their properties are as strange as they are beautiful. Think of the air you are breathing right now. It feels like nothing, a gentle, invisible presence. But oxygen, the element that sustains every breath you take, has a hidden side. While it is a colorless gas in the air around us, if you were to cool it down until it turned into a liquid or a solid, it would take on a soft, pale blue hue. It looks almost like a piece of the sky has been captured and held in a glass, a quiet, icy blue that reminds us that even the most invisible parts of our world have their own secret colors. Then there is helium, the light, playful gas that we often associate with celebrations. It is a stubborn element, the only one in the entire universe that cannot be turned into a solid simply by cooling it down. You could take it to the very edge of absolute zero, the coldest temperature possible, and it would still remain a liquid. It requires an immense amount of pressure, a heavy squeeze from the universe, to finally hold its atoms still enough to become a solid. It is as if helium has an inherent desire to stay fluid, to keep moving even in the deepest, most silent cold. When we look at ourselves and the life around us, we are looking at the work of carbon. Carbon is the essential foundation, the backbone of every living thing on Earth. It is a versatile element, capable of forming millions of different compounds. But perhaps most amazing is how it can transform itself based on how its atoms are held together. The soft gray graphite in a pencil, the kind that glides across paper with the slightest touch, is made of the exact same atoms as a brilliant, shimmering diamond. One is soft and opaque. The other is the hardest natural substance known to man. Yet they are siblings, born from the same element. It is a reminder that the same basic materials can create vastly different wonders, depending on the pressure and time they endure. These chemical bonds are held together by energy, and sometimes that energy is released in spectacular ways. Consider a single bolt of lightning, a sudden crack of light across a dark sky. That one flash contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. It is a staggering amount of power, contained in a fraction of a second, a reminder of the massive forces that play out in the atmosphere above us every day. As we move from these tiny invisible atoms and the sudden bursts of energy they create, we begin to feel the weight of the world beneath us. The elements don't just exist in the air or in our bodies. They make up the very ground we walk upon. But that ground, as solid and unchanging as it may feel, is part of a much larger, slower story. We turn our attention now to the great rocky crust of our planet, exploring the hidden movements and ancient secrets of the Earth itself. The ground beneath your feet feels so solid, so permanent. When you stand on a mountain or walk through a wide green field, it is difficult to imagine that the Earth is anything but perfectly still. But beneath that stillness is a world of constant, patient movement. The Earth's outer shell is not one solid piece. It is a collection of massive plates, drifting on a sea of hotter, softer rock deep below. These tectonic plates are always on the move, though they are in no hurry at all. In fact, they travel at just about the same speed that your fingernails grow. It is a movement so slow that we cannot feel it. Yet over millions of years, it has carved out the continents and pushed up the highest peaks on our planet. It is a silent, steady reshaping of the world, happening right now, even as you rest and find your own stillness. Most of this movement happens along the edges where these great plates meet, pushing against one another or pulling apart in a slow-motion dance. There is a vast horseshoe-shaped area in the Pacific Ocean known as the Ring of Fire. It is a place of incredible geological activity, where 90% of the world's earthquakes occur. While the idea of the Earth shifting might seem energetic, from the perspective of the planet, it is simply a way of breathing, releasing pressure and shifting its weight as it settles into new shapes. It is a reminder that our world is a living, changing thing, always finding its balance in the quiet dark of the deep crust. If we go even deeper into the Earth, into the cool, silent darkness of a cave, we find that even the rocks themselves are growing. In these hidden spaces, away from the wind and the sun, water drips slowly from the ceiling, carrying
tiny amounts of minerals with it. Over hundreds and thousands of years, these minerals pile up, molecule by molecule, to form stalactites that hang like stone icicles.
It is a form of slow mineral life, where the Earth is literally building itself in the dark. These growing rocks are a testament to the power of time and the beauty that can be created when nature is left to its own quiet, rhythmic devices. And if we were to travel all the way to the very center of our planet, far beneath the caves and the shifting plates, we would find a treasure beyond imagining. Most of the Earth's gold is not found in the mines or the rivers we see on the surface. Instead, nearly all of it, enough to cover the entire surface of the Earth in a layer knee-deep, is tucked away in the planet's molten core. It sank there billions of years ago when the Earth was still young and liquid. It remains there now, unreachable and heavy, a golden secret at the heart of our world. It is a comforting thought that beneath all the layers of sill and stone, there is such a brilliant, hidden warmth deep within the center of our home. But as we leave the heavy, golden depths of the Earth behind, we begin to rise back up through the layers of rock and sill. We pass through the surface and keep going, lifting our gaze toward the vast, open space above us. The solid ground is only one part of our world. Wrapped around it is a delicate, invisible blanket that protects us and gives us life. We move now from the heavy stones beneath our feet to the light, swirling currents of the air, exploring the mysteries of the atmosphere and the quiet power of the weather that moves through it. As we rise from the golden depths of the core, passing through the cool soil and emerging back onto the surface, we find ourselves in the gentle embrace of the air. It is easy to think of the air as nothing, as simple, empty space. But it is actually a vast, invisible ocean that surrounds us. This atmosphere is our shield, protecting us from the cold vacuum of space and the harsh radiation of the sun. It is a soft, constant presence that we breathe in and out, a rhythmic cycle that sustains every living thing on this planet. When you take a slow, deep breath right now, you are participating in that great global exchange. You might be surprised to learn that this invisible air has a physical weight, and it is staggering. If you were to put the entire atmosphere on a giant scale, it would weigh about 5.5 quadrillion tons. That is the number 5, followed by 15 zeros. Even though we do not feel it, the air is constantly pressing down on us with a steady, comforting weight that keeps our oceans in place and our bodies grounded. It is a heavy protective blanket that we carry with us wherever we go, an invisible layer of safety that holds our world together in the silence of the cosmos. When we look up at the sky on a quiet afternoon, we see clouds drifting by like tufts of white wool. They seem so light and weightless, as if they could just float away into the stars. But the reality is far more substantial. A typical fluffy white cumulus cloud, the kind that looks like a giant cotton ball, actually weighs about 1 million pounds. It is held up by the rising currents of warm air beneath it, balancing its immense weight in a delicate, slow-motion dance. It is a peaceful thought. 1 million pounds of water, suspended effortlessly in the blue, watching over the world as we drift toward sleep. Weather on Earth is familiar to us. The soft patter of rain against a window, the silent fall of snow on a winter night. But in other parts of our solar system, the weather is far more exotic. On giant planets like Saturn and Jupiter, the atmosphere is so thick and the pressure is so intense that it can turn carbon into diamonds. As these diamonds form high in the atmosphere, they fall toward the planet's core like glittering rain. Imagine a world where the storms are made of precious stones, drifting down through the dark clouds in a silent, sparkling shower. It is a reminder of how diverse and wondrous the universe can be, even in the way it rains. Back on Earth, we sometimes witness a phenomenon that sounds like something out of a legend, a dirty thunderstorm. This occurs when a volcano erupts, sending a massive plume of ash and smoke high into the sky. Inside that dark, roiling cloud, the particles of ash rub against each other, building up static electricity just like a regular storm cloud. Eventually, this energy is released as brilliant bolts of lightning flashing deep within the volcanic smoke. It is a powerful, awe-inspiring sight, the earth and the sky meeting in a moment of electric intensity, a reminder of the raw, natural energy that moves through our world. As we watch these storms and clouds pass, we begin to realize that the atmosphere is not just a place of air and water, but a place where time itself seems to move in grand, sweeping cycles. The weather comes and goes, the seasons shift, and the years begin to stack one upon another like layers of stone. We have explored the depths of the earth and the heights of the sky. But there is another dimension to our world that is just as vast and mysterious as the stars. We move now from the physical space of the atmosphere to the long, winding path of time, looking back at the incredible history of our planet and the moments that have shaped the world we know today. Time is a quiet river, flowing steadily even as we rest. We measure it in seconds, minutes, and years, yet our understanding of its true depth is often just a glimpse of the surface. To truly grasp how long our world has been turning, we have to look beyond the scope of a single human life. Imagine if the entire history of the earth, all 4.5 billion years of it, were squeezed into a single 24-hour day. In this grand clock, the first tiny organisms wouldn't appear until the early morning hours. For most of the day, the world would belong to the simplest forms of life, drifting in the ancient seas. It isn't until very late in the evening, long after the sun is set on our imaginary day, that the first complex animals emerge. And humans, we are the newest of arrivals. On this 24-hour clock, modern humans don't appear until just 2 minutes before midnight, at 11:58 p.m. We are but a brief, beautiful flicker in the long, slow story of our planet. While we may feel like we have been here a long time, there are residents of our world who have seen much more. Take the shark, for example. These silent hunters have been swimming in our oceans for over 400 million years. To put that into perspective, sharks are older than trees. Forests did not begin to cover the land until nearly 50 million years after sharks were already established in the deep. Even more surprisingly, sharks are older than the rings of Saturn. Those iconic, shimmering bands of ice and dust are relatively young, likely forming while dinosaurs were already walking the earth. Sharks have survived 4 mass extinctions, gliding through the dark waters while the world above changed beyond recognition, staying true to a design that has worked for eons. Even within our own human history, our sense of time can be a bit of a mirage. We often think of ancient Egypt as a single distant era, but it spanned thousands of years. Consider Queen Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom. She lived closer in time to the invention of the iPhone and the moon landing than she did to the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. When she walked through her palace, the pyramids were already ancient monuments, standing for over 2,000 years before her birth. It is a quiet reminder that the past is layered, with one era resting gently upon the shoulders of the one before it, stretching back into the mist of legend. Time, however, is not as solid or as constant as it feels. According to the laws of physics, time actually moves at different speeds depending on where you are. Because of gravity's influence on the fabric of space, time moves slightly faster at the top of a tall mountain than it does at sea level. If you lived your whole life on the peak of Mount Everest, you would technically be a tiny fraction of a second older than someone living on a beach. It is a very small difference, barely a heartbeat over a lifetime, but it shows us that time is a flexible, living thing, stretching and swaying with the very shape of the universe. As time flows around us, it carries with it the light of the stars and the colors of the world. Just as time can shift and change, so too can the way we perceive the light that touches our eyes. The world we see is painted in a spectrum of vibrant hues, but the science behind those colors is as deep and mysterious as time itself. We move now from the ticking of the cosmic clock to the soft, glowing waves of light that reveal the beauty of the universe, exploring the hidden secrets of the colors that fill our dreams. As we settle deeper into this quiet space, we can begin to think about the light that fills our world. We often take the colors we see for granted, as if they are simply a permanent part of the landscape. But the spectrum of light is a vast and mysterious thing, containing much more than our eyes can perceive. It is a dance of energy moving across the cosmos, bringing us the beauty of the day and the soft glow of the night. Think for a moment of the sky on a clear afternoon. It looks like a solid, endless dome of blue stretching from one horizon to the other, but in reality, the sky has no color of its own. It appears blue because of a process called Rayleigh scattering. As sunlight enters our atmosphere, it hits molecules of nitrogen and oxygen. Blue light travels in shorter, smaller waves, which makes it scatter more easily than the other colors in the spectrum. It bounces around like a gentle rain of light, filling the air with that familiar, calming shade. When the sun begins to set, the light has to travel through much more of the atmosphere to reach your eyes. By then, the blue light has been scattered away entirely, leaving behind the long, warm waves of red and orange to paint the horizon before the stars finally emerge. Sometimes, after a light rain, a rainbow appears, arching gracefully across the skies. We see it as a beautiful bridge of color, but a rainbow is actually much more than a simple arch. If you could see it from high above, perhaps from the window of an airplane, you would see that a rainbow is actually a perfect full circle. The only reason we see a half circle from the ground is that the horizon gets in the way, hiding the bottom half from our view. It is a complete ring of light, centered perfectly around the point directly opposite the sun. It is a private and fleeting gift from the sun and the rain, a geometric miracle of physics that appears only when the conditions are just right. While we enjoy the colors of the rainbow, we are only seeing a tiny fraction of what is actually there. The human eye is a wonderful tool, but it is limited. Many animals live in a world of color that we can barely imagine. Bees, for example, can see ultraviolet light, which reveals hidden patterns on flowers that act like landing strips, guiding them toward the nectar. Reindeer use ultraviolet vision to spot white lichen and the fur of predators against the blinding white snow of the Arctic. Some creatures, like the mantis shrimp, have 12 different types of color receptors, whereas humans only have 3. They see a world of shimmering, complex hues that are entirely invisible to us, a secret, silent layer of reality that exists all around us, even in the stillness of the night. We often hear that nothing can travel faster than light, and in the vacuum of space, it moves at a staggering speed, crossing vast distances in the blink of an eye. But light is not always in such a hurry. When it passes through different materials, like water, glass, or a diamond, it slows down as it interacts with the atoms inside. Scientists have even found ways to slow light down to a literal crawl. By passing it through extremely cold clouds of atoms, known as Bose-Einstein condensates, they can make light move slower than a person riding a bicycle. It is a strange and beautiful thought that something so ethereal and swift can be gently held and slowed like a soft breeze passing through a field of tall grass, or gentle thought drifting through a quiet mind. Just as light moves in waves to bring us the wonders of sight, there are other waves moving through the world, carrying the sounds of life, from the rustle of leaves to the deep rhythmic hum of the ocean. These vibrations connect us to our surroundings in a different, more intimate way. As we drift further toward sleep, let us listen to the quiet rhythms of the world and explore the gentle science of sound and the vibrations that move through the air and the water alike. Just as light travels in waves to reveal the world to our eyes, there are other more physical waves that move through the air and the water, carrying the sounds of life to our ears. These vibrations are like invisible threads, connecting us to the rustle of the wind, the rhythm of a heartbeat, and the soft melodies that help us find our way to sleep. Sound is a constant companion, a gentle reminder of the movement and energy that exists all around us. Even in the quietest moments of the night. In the air around us, sound moves at a steady, comfortable pace. But when those same vibrations enter the water, they behave in a way that might surprise you. Sound actually travels about 4 times faster in water than it does in the air. This happens because water molecules are packed much more tightly together than the molecules in the atmosphere. Because they are so close, the energy of a sound wave can pass from one molecule to the next with much greater speed and efficiency. If you were to listen to a sound deep beneath the surface of a still lake or the vast ocean, it would reach you almost instantly, gliding through the cool, dark blue with a clarity that the open air simply cannot match. It is a reminder that the world beneath the waves is far from silent. It is a rich, vibrant landscape of echoes and songs. While sound thrives in the dense environments of water and air, it finds a complete and total end when it reaches the edge of our atmosphere. In the vast open reaches of space, there is a silence so profound it is difficult for us to even imagine. Because sound is a mechanical wave that requires a medium, like air, water, or even solid rock. To travel through, it cannot cross the empty vacuum of the cosmos. Without molecules to vibrate against one another, even the most powerful celestial events happen in absolute, perfect stillness. It is a quiet that spans billions of light years, a serene and untouchable peace that guards the secrets of the stars. In the vacuum of space, the universe is a silent film of breathtaking beauty, where the only rhythm is the slow, graceful dance of gravity. Back here on Earth, within the sheltering embrace of our oceans, the blue whale holds the title of the loudest living creature. When a blue whale calls out to its kin, the sound can reach an incredible 188 decibels. To put that in perspective, a jet engine at takeoff is usually around 140 decibels. These low-frequency pulses are so powerful that they can travel through thousands of miles of ocean water, allowing these gentle giants to stay connected across entire basins. It is a haunting and majestic song, a way for them to speak to one another across the vast, watery distances of the globe. They sing in a language of deep, resonant vibrations, a slow-motion conversation that mirrors the unhurried pace of their lives in the deep. Sometimes sound can affect us in ways we don't even consciously realize. There are frequencies so low that the human ear cannot hear them, known as infrasound These very deep vibrations, though silent to our ears, can be felt by our bodies. Scientists have discovered that certain infrasound frequencies, around 19 hertz, can cause the human eye to vibrate ever so slightly. This can lead to blurred vision, or even the sensation of seeing faint flickering figures in the corner of our sight. These low-frequency waves can also trigger a natural sense of unease or a subtle, chilled feeling. It isn't anything supernatural. It is simply our physical bodies responding to a vibration we cannot hear, a quiet resonance between our biology and the physical world. It is a fascinating example of how we are constantly interacting with forces we cannot see or hear, a hidden layer of reality that moves through us like a soft, invisible tide. These vibrations, whether they are the songs of whales or the silent hum of the earth, are the result of physical matter interacting on a grand scale. They are the movements of the world we can touch and feel. But if we look even closer, past the waves of sound and the ripples in the water, we find a different kind of structure, one that is much smaller, yet holds the key to everything we are. Deep within every living thing, in the very center of the cells that make up your body, there is a tiny, delicate code that acts as the master blueprint for life. As we settle deeper into the quiet of the night, let us turn our attention inward, away from the wide oceans and the silent stars, to the microscopic wonders of the DNA that connects all living things. Imagine a library so vast it contains the history of your ancestors and the instructions for every heartbeat you will ever have. This library isn't hidden away in a distant building. It is tucked inside every single cell of your body. It is the blueprint of life, a long, twisting ladder of molecules known as DNA. It is a quiet, microscopic miracle that hums with the same ancient rhythm as the stars and the sea, holding the secrets of your identity in a code so compact it is almost invisible. Even though DNA is coiled tightly within the tiny nucleus of a cell, its actual length is staggering. If you were to take the DNA from every single cell in your body and uncoil it, stretching it out into one continuous, shimmering thread, it would reach a distance that the human mind can barely comprehend. That thin line of biological information would stretch from Earth all the way to Pluto, and then all the way back again. This delicate, invisible thread is woven through you in such a dense and clever way that it fits perfectly within the architecture of your body, carrying the instructions for who you are across billions of miles of genetic code. It is a testament to how much complexity can be held in the smallest of spaces. We often think of ourselves as entirely unique, separate from the rest of the natural world, but at a molecular level, we are deeply connected to everything that grows. You might find it surprising to learn that humans share about 60% of our DNA with bananas. While we look and act nothing like a piece of fruit, many of the most basic functions of life, how cells grow, how they process energy, and how they repair themselves, are universal across many different species. This shared code is a gentle, silent reminder that we are part of a much larger family of living things, all drawing from the same fundamental well of biological wisdom. Even when the code is nearly identical, nature finds subtle ways to ensure we remain individuals. Consider the case of identical twins. They share 100% of their genetic material, making them as close to a biological mirror as exists in nature. And yet, even with the exact same DNA, they are distinct. One of the most fascinating proofs of this uniqueness is found in their fingerprints. Because fingerprints are formed not just by genetics, but by the physical environment of the womb, the way a baby moves and touches its surroundings. No two people in the world have the same prints, not even identical twins. It is a beautiful blend of our internal map and our external experience, showing that while our DNA provides the foundation, our individual journeys make us who we are. When we look at the world around us, we see a vast tapestry of human variety, from the color of our eyes to the sound of our voices. But if you were to look at the genetic level, those differences are incredibly small. More than 99% of human DNA is exactly the same across every person on this planet. The vast majority of our biological makeup is dedicated to the simple, shared experience of being human. Having a heart that beats in a steady rhythm, lungs that draw in the cool air, and a mind that can dream. We are far more alike than we are different, bound together by a nearly identical script that has been passed down and refined over millions of years. This code is not just a set of instructions, it is a testament to the incredible strength of life. It has endured through ice ages and shifts in the earth, adapting and persisting through the most challenging conditions imaginable. As you settle deeper into your pillow, let yourself feel the quiet strength of that persistence. This blueprint for life doesn't just exist in the comfort of our homes. It thrives in the most extreme, unexpected corners of our world, where life has found a way to survive against all odds. This quiet strength of life is perhaps most evident in the places where we would least expect to find it, in the deepest, darkest, and most hostile environments on our planet, and even beyond it. Life has found a way to not just exist, but to thrive. It is a gentle reminder that the spark of existence is incredibly resilient, patient, and persistent, capable of enduring conditions that seem impossible to our human senses. Consider the tardigrade, a microscopic creature often called a water bear, because of its plump, eight-legged appearance and slow rolling gait. These tiny beings are among the toughest survivors in the known universe. When conditions become too harsh, they have a remarkable ability to dry out, curling into a tiny, indestructible ball called a ton. In this state of suspended animation, their metabolism slows to a near halt, and they become almost immune to the world around them. In this quiet, dormant state, they can survive the freezing cold of near absolute zero, the crushing pressure of the deepest ocean trenches, and even the total vacuum and intense radiation of outer space. When they are finally touched by a drop of water, perhaps years or even decades later, they simply wake up and continue their journey, as if no time had passed at all. Far below the surface of the ocean, where the sun's light can never reach, life persists in a different kind of extreme. Near hydrothermal vents, Where the Earth's inner heat escapes through the crust, the water can reach temperatures that would normally boil. Yet, in this scalding, mineral-rich darkness, certain types of bacteria flourish. They do not rely on the sun for energy. Instead, they turn the chemicals from the Earth's interior into the very building blocks of life. They are the foundation of an entire ecosystem that exists in total isolation, proving that life is a master of adaptation, finding a home in the most unlikely of cradles. We do not have to look to the stars or the bottom of the sea to find this abundance of life, however. It is much closer than you might think. Even as you lie there in the quiet of the night, you are a host to a vast and complex world of microscopic life. In fact, there are more bacteria living in your mouth right now than there are human beings on the entire planet. While the thought of billions of tiny inhabitants might seem overwhelming, these organisms are a natural part of our biology, working in a silent, invisible harmony with our bodies to keep us healthy. It is a staggering thought to realize that we are never truly alone. We are each a walking, breathing planet for trillions of tiny lives, all coexisting in a delicate, peaceful balance. Life also possesses an incredible sense of patience, a willingness to wait for the perfect moment to begin. Some seeds can fall into the dry, dusty earth and remain there, silent and still, for thousands of years. They wait through centuries of heat and cold, through the rise and fall of civilizations, holding their breath until the conditions are exactly right. Scientists have discovered seeds in ancient tombs and frozen soil that, when given a bit of warmth and water, after 2,000 years of sleep, have sprouted into vibrant green plants. It is a profound testament to the endurance of the biological blueprint, a promise of growth that can wait through the ages, undisturbed by the passing of time. As we contemplate these small but mighty survivors, we begin to see how life weaves itself into the very fabric of the world. But life does not exist in isolation. It is governed by the same invisible laws that move the stars and hold the planets in their orbits. From the smallest seed to the widest galaxy, everything is held together by forces we cannot see, but can always feel. As you feel the gentle pull of the earth beneath you, grounding you in your bed and keeping you safe, we begin to turn our gaze toward the invisible architecture of the universe, the quiet, constant power of gravity. As you lie there, feel the gentle, constant pressure of your body against the mattress. It is a soft, reassuring weight, a sense of being anchored and held. This is the work of gravity, the invisible thread that weaves through every moment of our lives, keeping our feet on the ground and our world in its place. It is a force so pervasive that we often forget it exists. Yet it is arguably the most mysterious and elegant of all the laws of physics. It is the quiet architect of the cosmos, a silent hand that guides the dance of the planets and the slow, graceful swirl of the galaxies. Interestingly, despite how much gravity defines our experience of the world, it is actually the weakest of the four fundamental forces of nature. When you think of the entire mass of the Earth pulling down on a simple paperclip, it seems incredibly powerful. And yet, you can overcome that entire planetary pull just by picking up a small refrigerator magnet. The tiny magnetic force in that toy is stronger than the gravitational pull of the entire Earth. Gravity is a gentle giant, a force that requires vast amounts of matter like stars and planets, to truly make its presence felt. Yet it is so subtle that it allows the delicate structures of life to flourish without being crushed. Because the earth is not a perfect sphere, this invisible pull isn't exactly the same everywhere you go. Our planet is a bit wider at its middle, bulging outward due to its rotation. Because of this shape, when you stand at the equator, you are actually a few miles further away from the Earth's center than you would be if you were standing at the North or South Pole. Since the strength of gravity fades with distance, you actually weigh slightly less at the equator than you do at the poles. It is a tiny difference, barely noticeable to our senses, but it is a reminder that the world beneath us is always shifting and shaping the way we move through space. In the most extreme corners of the universe, gravity becomes so intense that it challenges our very understanding of reality. Near the edge of a black hole, the pull of gravity grows so rapidly over short distances that it creates a strange phenomenon. If you were to approach a black hole feet first, the gravity pulling on your toes would be significantly stronger than the gravity pulling on your head. This would gently but firmly stretch your body into a long, thin strand, a process that scientists quite whimsically call spaghettification. In these distant, silent regions of the void, gravity becomes a master of transformation, bending the fabric of space and time into shapes we can only begin to imagine. Gravity doesn't just pull on solid objects, it even has the power to bend light itself. When a massive object, like a cluster of galaxies, sits between us and a much more distant light source, its immense gravity acts like a giant cosmic magnifying glass. It curves the path of the light traveling past it, focusing and distorting the image of the stars behind it. This phenomenon, known as gravitational lensing, allows us to peer deeper into the history of the universe than we ever could on our own. It is as if the universe itself provides the lenses we need to see its most distant secrets, using the weight of the stars to light the way. As we contemplate these massive forces that govern the movements of galaxies and the path of light, we realize that the strength of the universe is built upon things we cannot see. We have looked at the vastness of the heavens and the heavy pull of the earth, but to truly understand the nature of our world, we must look closer still. The same laws that hold the moon in its orbit are rooted in the behavior of the very small. As you continue to rest, letting the quiet weight of gravity cradle you, we begin to drift away from the scale of planets and stars, turning our attention toward the strange, shimmering world of atoms and the subatomic particles that make up everything you have ever known. It is a peaceful realization to consider that the world around you, the pillow beneath your head, the air in your lungs, and even your own body, is not as solid as it might feel. We often think of matter as being heavy and dense, but in the quiet reality of the microscopic world, everything is built from tiny building blocks that are almost entirely made of nothing at all. To look into the heart of an atom is to look into a vast and silent expanse, a miniature version of the deep space we see between the stars. If you were to look deep inside a single atom, you would find a staggering amount of room. To help visualize this, imagine an atom was the size of a great echoing cathedral. The nucleus, the very heart and mass of the atom, would be no larger than a single fly buzzing in the center of that massive space. The rest of the cathedral would be completely empty, save for the tiny electrons dancing like dust motes at its furthest edges. Because of this incredible scale, science tells us that atoms are 99.99999% empty space. It is a comforting thought to hold as you drift toward sleep, that the entire physical world is a delicate, airy web of energy and distance. This emptiness is so profound that it challenges our understanding of weight and size. If you were to take every single human being currently living on Earth, all 8 billion of us, and somehow remove all that empty space from within our atoms, the entire population of the world would be compressed into a space no larger than a single apple. While we would be unimaginably heavy, we would occupy almost no room at all. We are vast collections of space, held together by the quiet, invisible forces of the universe, allowing us to move and breathe in a world that is mostly light and shadow. This leads to one of the most surprising truths about our daily lives. You have never truly touched anything in your entire life. When you feel the softness of your blanket or the firmness of your mattress, what you are actually experiencing is the invisible push of electromagnetic fields. The electrons in your body and the electrons in the objects around you carry the same negative charge, and like two magnets facing each other, they repel one another with a gentle, persistent force. You are, in a very real sense, hovering a tiny microscopic distance above your bed right now, supported by the silent, tireless push of trillions of tiny particles that refuse to let you fall. And yet, even though we are made mostly of space and shimmering forces, we are also deeply connected to the history of the cosmos. Every atom that makes up your heart, your hands, and your eyes was once part of something much larger. The carbon, the nitrogen, and the oxygen within you were forged in the intense heat and pressure of dying stars billions of years ago. When those stars reached the end of their lives, they scattered their elements across the dark void, eventually coming together to form the Earth, and eventually you. You are, quite literally, made of stardust, carrying the ancient light and history of the universe within your very cells as you rest. As these ancient atoms settle into the stillness of the night, they are never truly motionless. They vibrate with a quiet, invisible energy, a tiny dance that generates the warmth you feel under your covers. This subtle movement of molecules is the foundation of energy and heat, a rhythm that flows through everything in existence. As we move deeper into the night, we begin to explore how this hidden motion creates the warmth of our world and the strange ways that energy transforms the space around us. The warmth you feel right now, tucked under your blankets, is more than just a sensation. It is a sign of life and activity on a scale so small we can barely imagine it. Every atom in your body, every molecule in the air around you is in a state of constant, gentle motion. Heat is simply the vibration of these tiny particles. The faster they move, the warmer things feel. Even in the stillness of your room, there is a quiet, microscopic dance happening everywhere, a rhythmic shivering of matter that keeps the world from becoming frozen and still. There is a limit to how still things can get, a point known to scientists as absolute zero. It is the coldest temperature possible, nearly 460 degrees below zero on the Fahrenheit scale. At this incredible depth of cold, all molecular motion would theoretically stop. The tiny dance of atoms would end, and everything would become perfectly, silently motionless. It is a state that exists mostly in theory, as the universe seems to prefer the gentle hum of energy over total stillness. Even in the deepest reaches of space, there is a lingering warmth, a faint echo of the beginning of time that keeps the cosmos from ever reaching that final, frozen silence. Water, the very essence of life, behaves in ways that often defy our expectations of heat and cold. You might assume that cold water would always freeze faster than hot water, but under certain conditions, the otherwise happens. This is known as the Mpemba effect. Scientists have observed that a container of hot water can sometimes reach the freezing point more quickly than a container of cool water. While the reasons are still studied and debated, it serves as a beautiful reminder that nature often holds on to its secrets, operating by rules that are more complex and mysterious than they first appear. The ultimate source of almost all the warmth and energy we experience is the sun, that great golden heart of our solar system. The scale of the energy it sends our way is staggering. In just one single hour, the Earth receives more energy from the sun than the entire human population uses in a whole year. This silent, golden rain of photons powers the winds, feeds the plants, and warms the oceans, all without making a sound. It is a vast, overflowing gift of light that arrives every day, waiting to be transformed into the many different forms of energy that sustain our world. One of the most comforting laws of science is that energy can never be truly lost. It cannot be created from nothing, and it can never be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state into another. The light from a star becomes the heat in a plant, which becomes the energy in your body, which eventually radiates back out into the room as the warmth of your breath. Everything is part of a grand eternal cycle. The energy that is moving through you right now has been here since the dawn of time, changing its shape but never disappearing. It is a constant, steady presence in an ever-changing universe. As we consider these invisible flows of energy, we begin to see that they do not move at random. There is a structure to the way the world is built, a hidden logic that governs how energy settles into matter. From the way heat radiates to the way molecules bond, there is a repeating language of shapes and numbers that appears everywhere we look. As you drift further into relaxation, we will turn our attention to this secret geometry, the beautiful patterns and mathematical wonders that are written into the very fabric of the natural world. As your mind begins to drift, you might start to notice that the world around us isn't just a collection of random shapes. There is a quiet, hidden geometry written into everything we see, a silent language of numbers and forms that guides the growth of a tree in the shape of a shell. This natural logic is everywhere, working in the background to create beauty out of simplicity, ensuring that life unfolds with a gentle, rhythmic order. One of the most famous of these patterns is known as the Fibonacci sequence. It is a simple progression of numbers where each one is the sum of the two before it. But in nature, it creates a masterpiece of efficiency. You can see it in the way leaves are arranged on a stem, ensuring that each one gets its share of sunlight without shading the ones below. You can see it in the perfect sweeping spirals of a pine cone or the way seeds are packed into the center of a sunflower. This mathematical rhythm allows the plant to pack the most seeds into the littlest space. A gentle, quiet optimization that has been perfected over millions of years. It is a reminder that even in the wild, there is a deep underlying harmony. This same search for efficiency can be found in the busy, quiet world of a beehive. If you were to look closely at a honeycomb, you would see a sea of perfect hexagons. Bees are master mathematicians, even if they don't know it. They build their storage cells in this six-sided shape because it is the most efficient geometry in existence. Circles would leave empty gaps between them, and triangles or squares would require more wax to build the same amount of volume. The hexagon is the perfect compromise, strong, light, and capable of holding the most honey with the least amount of effort. It is a testament to the quiet intelligence found in the smallest corners of our world, a structure built for peace and productivity. In the cold, still moments of winter, a different kind of geometry unfolds in the sky. Every snowflake that falls, no matter how intricate or unique its individual design, always has exactly 6 sides. This isn't a coincidence. It is a result of the way water molecules bond together. As water freezes, the molecules link up in a hexagonal lattice, a rigid but delicate structure that dictates the shape of the entire crystal. Even as the snowflake grows and branches out into 1,000 tiny crystalline arms, it must follow the rules of its own chemistry, creating a 6-fold symmetry that is both fragile and perfectly ordered. Each one is a tiny frozen miracle of geometry, drifting silently to the ground. Nature also loves patterns that repeat themselves, no matter how much you zoom in or out. These are called fractals, and they are the fingerprints of the natural world. You can find them in the jagged edges of a coastline, where the same rocky curves and inlets appear, whether you are looking from a satellite or standing on the beach. You can see them in the branching of a tree where the large limbs look just like the smaller twigs, which in turn look like the veins in a leaf. Even a bolt of lightning follows a fractal path as it reaches toward the ground, branching and splitting in a self-similar way. It is as if nature has found a few simple rules that work so well, it uses them to build everything from the smallest nerve in your body to the largest mountain range. These patterns give us a sense of comfort, showing us that even in the vastness of the world, there is a deep and reliable order. But as we look at the shapes of the present, we also begin to wonder about the patterns of the future. Just as a seed holds the blueprint for a tree, the universe itself follows a grand unfolding timeline. As you settle deeper into your rest, we will move our gaze from the patterns here on earth to the immense, silent stretches of time that lie ahead, exploring the mysteries of what is yet to come in the long, quiet life of our cosmos. As we look at the patterns of the present, our minds naturally drift toward the patterns of the future. The universe has a long, slow story left to tell, a timeline that stretches so far beyond our comprehension that it becomes a kind of peaceful, eternal silence. In this vast future, the very stars we see tonight are part of a grander movement, a slow-motion dance on a scale that defies imagination. One of the most incredible events on this timeline will occur in about 4.5 billion years. Right now, the Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large neighbor, is moving toward our own Milky Way. Eventually, these two massive collections of stars will collide. But because galaxies are mostly empty space, this isn't a crash in the way we might think. Instead, it will be a graceful merger. The stars will pass by one another like ghosts, their gravity pulling them into new, sweeping orbits until the two galaxies become one single, giant, elliptical galaxy. It is a cosmic union, a quiet reorganization of billions of lights into a new, shared home. It is a process that will take millions of years to complete, a slow-motion transformation that reminds us that even the largest structures in the universe are constantly evolving into something new. While these two galaxies are coming together, the rest of the universe is actually moving further apart. Scientists have discovered that the universe is expanding, and even more surprisingly, it is doing so at an accelerating rate. An invisible force, often called dark energy, is pushing the space between distant galaxies wider and wider every second. It is as if the fabric of the cosmos is being gently stretched. On the scales of our daily lives, or even our solar system, we cannot feel this. Gravity holds us firmly and safely together. But on the largest scale imaginable, the universe is growing more spacious, creating more room with a quiet dark between the stars. It is a gentle expansion, a widening of the horizon that has been happening since the beginning of time. Looking even further ahead, trillions upon trillions of years into the future, the universe will enter a very long, quiet era. The bright, hot stars we see now will eventually run out of their nuclear fuel and fade away. The last stars to remain will be the small, cool red dwarfs, which can burn for 10 trillion years, a span of time so long it makes the current age of the universe seem like a single heartbeat. Eventually, even those embers will dim and the universe will reach a state of ultimate stillness. It is not a frightening end, but rather a final perfect rest where every atom has found its place and every ounce of energy has been evenly shared. It is the ultimate expression of equilibrium, a universe that has finally found its way to a deep and lasting peace. We are incredibly fortunate to be living in the era we are in right now. Scientists call this a rare and special time because the universe is still young enough that we can see the history of its birth. We can look out and see other galaxies, and we can still detect the faint afterglow of the Big Bang itself. In the very distant future, the expansion of space will have pushed other galaxies so far away that their light will never be able to reach us again. Future observers, if they existed, would look out at a sky that appears empty of everything but their own local stars. They would have no way of knowing that other galaxies even exist. But we live in the golden age of light, where the secrets of the cosmos are still visible, waiting for us to notice them before we close our eyes. As we contemplate these immense spans of time, the vastness of the future doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Instead, it can remind us of how precious and quiet this moment is. The same laws that govern the birth and death of galaxies are the same laws that allow us to breathe, to dream, and to find comfort in the stillness of the night. It is a reminder that we are part of a story that is much larger than ourselves, a story that is stable, predictable, and deeply peaceful. As you continue to let go of the day, we will return our focus to the immediate world around us, finding a sense of belonging in the simple, beautiful truths that connect us to the stars above and the earth beneath us. In the quiet of this moment, as we lean into the vastness of the cosmos, we find that the truths of science are not cold or distant. They are, instead, a source of profound peace. There is a gentle comfort in knowing that the universe is not chaotic, but follows a beautiful, predictable order that we can rely on every single night. One of the most poetic truths of our universe is that whenever you look up at the stars, you are literally looking back in time. Light, as fast as it is, still takes time to travel across the immense distances of space. When you see the soft glow of a star, you are seeing light that may have begun its journey decades, centuries, or even thousands of years ago. To look at the night sky is to gaze into a cosmic photo album, seeing the universe as it was in the distant past. The North Star, for instance, is about 320 light years away, meaning the light hitting your eyes tonight began its journey in the early 1700s. It is a silent, beautiful reminder that the past is never truly gone. Its light is still traveling, still reaching out to us, connecting us to the history of everything that has ever been. And just as the light of the stars connects us to the past, the very atoms that make up your body connect you to the history of our own planet. Your body is constantly recycling elements that have been part of the earth for billions of years. The carbon in your breath, the calcium in your teeth, and the iron in your blood were once part of ancient mountains that have long since eroded, or deep oceans that existed before the first creatures walked on land. You are a living vessel for the earth's memory, carrying within you the physical legacy of the world's long and storied life. There is a deep sense of belonging in this. The realization that you are not separate from nature, but a part of a continuous, breathing cycle that has been turning since the world began. This sense of belonging is strengthened by the knowledge that the same laws of physics apply everywhere in the known universe. The gravity that keeps the planets in their orbits is the same gravity that keeps you tucked safely into your bed tonight. The way light reflects, the way heat moves, and the way atoms bond are the same in the furthest, most distant galaxy as they are right here in your room. This consistency is a quiet promise of stability. No matter how far we look into the dark, the rules of the universe remain the same, providing a steady and unchanging foundation for everything we see and feel. We are part of a journey of discovery that never truly ends. Science is not a destination, but a beautiful, ongoing conversation with the mystery of existence. There will always be more to learn, more whispers from the stars to decode, and more wonders to uncover beneath the surface of our own world. But the unknown is not something to fear. It is a quiet invitation to wonder, a reminder that the world is richer and deeper than we can imagine. As we begin our final wind down, let these truths settle over you like a warm, heavy blanket. The universe is vast, ancient, and governed by a gentle order that includes you in every way. You are made of the same stardust as the galaxies, governed by the same laws as the sun, and part of the same history as the mountains and the sea. Everything is exactly as it should be. The world is quiet now. The stars are watching over the distant horizon, and it is time to let the wonders of the day fade into the soft, welcoming embrace of rest. As the night deepens, we find ourselves at the end of our journey through the wonders of the universe. We have traveled from the searing surface of the sun to the silent, icy plains of Neptune. We have dived into the deepest trenches of the ocean and peered into the microscopic blueprints of our own selves. Now, it is time to close the book on wonder for tonight. The vastness of the cosmos, the complexity of life, and the strange, beautiful laws of physics are all still there, waiting for us when we wake. But for now, their only role is to provide a quiet, steady backdrop for your rest. Take a final, slow breath in and let it out with a soft, long sigh. If there are any lingering thoughts from your day, any worries, any plans, or even the fascinating facts we've discussed, imagine them as small, glowing embers that are slowly dimming and cooling. You don't need to hold on to them anymore. You have done enough today. The world is turning without your effort, and the stars are keeping their watch without your supervision. You're free to simply be, to let go of the need to understand or to do. As you drift closer to sleep, remember that your mind is still working for you in the most gentle, restorative way. Even as your conscious thoughts begin to blur and fade into the soft edges of a dream, your brain is busy processing all the information you've gathered today. It is organizing your memories, filing away your experiences, and making sense of the world while you rest. It's a beautiful, automatic process, a way for your mind to tidy its home while you sleep, ensuring that everything is in its right place when the sun rises again. You can trust your mind to take care of the details while you slip away into the quiet. In this moment, sleep is truly the most productive thing you can do for your health and your spirit. It is the time when your body repairs itself at a cellular level, when your heart rate slows to a steady, rhythmic lullaby, and when your system flushes away the physical and mental stresses of the day. There is no task more important right now than this surrender to stillness. You are giving yourself the essential gift of renewal, allowing every part of your being to bathe in the restorative quiet of the night. The universe is indeed vast, stretching out across billions of light years of mysterious space. It is filled with giant stars, spinning galaxies and the echoes of the very beginning of time. But within that immense, infinite expanse, you have a safe, quiet place that is entirely your own. Right here, in the warmth of your bed, under the soft weight of your blankets, you are protected and sealed. The same forces that hold the moon in its orbit and guide the light of distant suns are the same forces that keep you secure in this moment. You are a cherished part of this great cosmic design, held in the steady, unchanging embrace of natural laws that never falter. Let the silence of the room become your companion. Feel the way the air moves softly around you, cool and calm. The journey of the mind is complete, and the wonders we have explored together are now part of your quiet inner world. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to wonder about, and nowhere else you need to be. I wish you the deepest of rests and the most peaceful of dreams. May you wake feeling as refreshed as the morning dew and as steady as the earth beneath you. Sleep now, in the quiet, in the dark, in the perfect, gentle peace of the universe. Good night.